Hey guys, it's me. So I know I posted a video a while back ago saying I would have something special for you soon, and according to the world of life, soon means it's gonna take forever until you can finally have the perfect moment to finally post or even make something. So I just wanted to apologize for that, for one thing, and I hope you're not that terribly mad at me. So, this video here is that something special because I was dedicating this, I promise I can English, to a friend who actually has been helping me with some project that I've been working on for the past long while. I don't even remember anymore. Oh my god, I'm so pathetic. But let's get started, shall we? I'm writing a book! Sort of. Well, here's the backstory. A couple years ago, so when I started college, I became sort of obsessed with the world of anime and sort of how light novels worked. And if you don't know what light novels are, they're basically book versions of a manga or an anime. It's a completely Japanese thing. They're written in lengths of a novella, I guess, but they come in volumes, just like manga does. At least in the United States. So I was like, if I could come up with my own light novel series, what exactly would I put into it? For some reason, I decided to write a dystopian science fiction version of the classic novel written by Victor Hugo called The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I know, completely, totally uncreative, but I decided to come up with it, I started writing it, and I was enjoying to write it, so I have no right to complain. So, and on top of it, Hunchback is my second favorite Disney film, so I guess that plays part into it too. So, this retelling is sort of like the one written all those years ago, but then again, it's not. Like, if you took a look at it, you could say, Caitlin, you just created your own thing, it's not exactly a Hunchback retelling, but just because it has a few elements in there, I couldn't actually leave this part out. So, basically, I think we all know how, let's just say, dark and gritty the original book was, because it's full of drama and the obsession with death. Well, this book, which is titled Saint's Dom, death is not really the main focus. And I guess the minimal summary I could give you is there's this boy named Andre, who has this interesting power because one of his eyes is actually considered a murder weapon because his foster parent, the priest of the Notre Dame Cathedral, why did I say church? Claudius Frollo basically ripped one of his eyes out and put that in there, and he's planning to use Serain as a weapon to take over France. Yeah, I know I said it was not like death heavy or gritty heavy, but it kind of is. I kind of lied. But the thing is, Serain doesn't want to be used as a murder weapon, though he kind of has an idea it's going down, but then again, it's kind of not. He doesn't know. But things get weird when him and his friend, Perry, who actually turns out to be his master's niece, end up meeting this rebellious group called the Miracle Alliance, which basically means this group is against the anarchy that's going on in Paris right now. They're sick and tired of the military torturing people who think they are less than the rich people who live in the city. So they're basically a group who plans to change all of that. And then I think the plot is totally unoriginal too, but I wish I could explain more, but unfortunately I have not gone in depth with that. However, I've made more characters, but there are 5 of them that I wanted to present to you today. Hopefully this could get you interested into reading some of it on my blog. Yes, I have a writing blog, which I'll post the link in the description box soon as this video goes up. And, I think it's easy to say we can help you, introduce you to them a little bit. Just tell you what they're all about. So, are you ready? Let's go. Let's start with this handsome gentleman right here. This is our main character, Saint Andre himself. If we're gonna make comparisons to the original Hunchback of Notre Dame here, let's say that Saint is our Quasimodo type character. He's the one who's been living in the bell tower for his entire life. He thinks other people are above him because everyone else tells him just the way he looks, he's not fit to be in society, though everyone knows it's more than that for this book, as I explained earlier. But he also has his good traits, too. In fact, I think out of all the Quasimodo adaptations, Saint has to be the most confident, probably the most dark and, as I said, confident of all of them. Like, he knows how to fight. He will defend anyone he loves if you mock them in any way. He's especially overprotective of Perry because they've been best friends since he was 8 years old. Yeah, so if you make him mad, he'll basically beat the living crud out of you. And when I say protective, like, especially Perry in particular, he can be overprotective because, she's his only friend. He wants to keep her safe, and then you learn later down the line he could possibly be in love with her. So basically, if you mock her, then you're mocking him. If you hurt her, you're hurting him, and that's his reason for attack. And the metal eye that you see in the picture there, that's actually the weapon that Claudius installed in there. And it's actually pretty dangerous because he can use his anger to activate it. And let's just say if you make him mad enough, it could be just as powerful to destroy an entire city. Yeah, and it's easy to say that the entire series, Saint is trying to not go into that deep of area. I'm not saying it will not happen. I'm not saying it will happen. But I have yet to write the whole story to tell you about that. So if you like him, or don't, it doesn't matter. He's still in the character development process. The rest of these characters are. But let's move on. I'm just gonna say it. Best girl. Right away. My favorite character so far. Her name's Perry Frollo. Actually, her original name is Isabella, but because of how girly and proper it is, she doesn't like it. And besides, Perry's more adorable, isn't it? Well, at least better sounding. Perry is actually the niece of Saint's master Claudius, the priest of Notre Dame. However, her father is the general of the Parisian army. And throughout her childhood, let's just say, she's been treated like a doll in a sense that she's just that. She's something that you hang up, like, put up on a pedestal because it's there. And because her father actually wanted a boy instead of a girl, then, yeah, I know that entire thing. So, Perry wasn't exactly, like, loved at home. And, like said, because her father's, like, constantly working all the time, she's babysat by her uncle Claudius at the cathedral, and Sedaine is basically the one who takes care of her. Like, that's how the two became friends, because she started showing up at the cathedral, they met in the bell tower, and the rest of it's history. Perry is the type of girl who, yes, Serene protects, because, you know, she's like, well, not only the doll on the pedestal thing, but she's also, like, Sedane's first friend. But she's like, I can basically take care of myself, because I've been doing that my entire life. I don't need, like, someone else to take care of me. And the moment Perry's put into the Miracle Alliance, you definitely see that. That girl can fight. Like, this girl can fight. Like, knives, bombs. She can do it. She literally can do it. It's just that, yeah, Sedaine babies her a lot, and sometimes you can see why, but you can see how it's overwhelming, and this girl just wants to be independent. And that's why I'm like, best girl. I mean, we do have another female character to look at next, but I'm just saying, best girl, my favorite right here. This is the character whose name appears from the book, but then also shares the same name of the character in the novel, which, this is probably the only time you're gonna see this. Well, we have another character who kind of shares the same name, but it's not the exact name that this character shares. This is La Esmeralda. Esmeralda for short. You don't have to say the law all the time, because that could get annoying. Everyone just calls her Esmeralda. She's basically the leader of the Miracle Alliance. She is the one who tells people what the group does and what the group does not do. Her goal is to keep the peace. She wants to bring peace back into Paris so that everyone can live in harmony and there's no such thing as class or race that gets discriminated in any way, shape, or form. And I also like her too. Even though I just said that Perry was best girl, Esmeralda is second place out of all the female characters that are in the book, because she's kind of like the mom or the big sister of everyone else. Like, everyone goes to her for, what's her next move? What do you want me to do? And she kind of acts like a mother figure to Serene, because he didn't have the correct parental guidance, and especially when it's to bringing peace or in figuring out his purpose, Esmeralda fits the bill. Like, she is the one who will step in and be like the lights to the end of the tunnel or something like that. Like, you may, like, in the original book, Esmeralda is 16. Oh my god. In the book, she's a brat. In the Disney movie, she is awesome, so I'm portraying Esmeralda here as she is in the Disney movie, because Esmeralda in the Disney movie is more awesome. And if you hear the wind outside, I'm terribly sorry, because it's pretty windy outside right now, and I can hear it through my apartment. But anyway, Esmeralda is the more mature type, as in comparison to the Disney film. I know I just said that. In comparison to the one for the original book. But when you read, like, the parts of the book that we finally get to her, you can understand why. And you can understand why I also like her too, and she's second place. Of course, every leader needs her lackey. well, okay, he's not exactly the lackey, but he does play, like, he is basically the second hand of La Esmeralda. His name is Renee Carter. Renee Carter. Yes, he's a guy. He's basically kind of the Phoebus character, though he does play a larger role in here. It's kind of in between the lack of role that he had from the book and the larger, probably unnecessarily larger role he had from the Disney movie. But in this book, I decided that he had a purpose. Like, he is the head of the Miracle Alliance's, like, weapons department, or, like, he's sort of, like, the leader of their little, rebellious groups. Like, if there's a raid going on, he'd be in charge of that. And he's kind of like a mentor to Stain when it comes to learning how to fight, but at the same time, he kind of gets jealous because he's also La Esmeralda's kind of boyfriend. So, because Stain hangs out so much with La Esmeralda, he gets kind of jealous. He's kind of not like the Notice Me Senpai type character because he has no need to have a Notice Me Senpai type personality. He already got the girl. He's just kind of overprotective of her to see if Stain does something stupid, which Stain doesn't, because Stain has no purpose of doing that. But then again, he's also very protective of Stain too, because he knows Stain is their biggest asset at this point. He's the most powerful guy, and if they lose him, everything kind of falls on Renee's shoulders. But overall, Renee is also very, like, brotherly to Perry a little bit, because he knows how it feels to be, like, at the bottom of the barrel. He actually used to be a soldier in her father's army, and he knows the mistreatment of people as well as everyone else does. So that's why he joined the Miracle Alliance in the first place. He was sort of like the banished prince or something. Well, he's not really a prince. He was a soldier. So, the banished soldier, I should say. And I really like him too. He's probably the character with the least development right now. And I wish I could put more development on this guy. So maybe I'll do that down the line. And hopefully you get to see a lot more than what I just said. Now we finally get to the villain himself. I saved the best for last, because, you know, hero first, friend second, reason story exists last. This is Claudius Frollo, the priest of the Notre Dame Cathedral I've been talking about. Oh, where do I even start with this guy? So, he is the older brother of the general of the Parisian army, whose name is John. The older brother is Claudius, in case you didn't catch that. Though the general wants to keep order in Paris by being strict to the people, Claudius flat out just wants the church to take over France in a very discriminatory way. Like, that's why he implanted the eye in Stain in the first place. Like, he wants to use that to literally clean up the city, start the world over, but he wanted the power to himself, and anyone who completely disobeys him, even if Stain were to disobey him, greater punishment would come. This guy, not only is he manipulative, but for a guy who's running a cathedral, he also has a very bad sense of judgment. Like, somewhere down the line, the real reason that Perry wanted to stay with the Miracle Alliance and never come back is that Claudius, you know, sometimes if you're running a church or like the world's biggest cathedral all day, you can get lonely. You can get very lonely, and if the only woman in the whole building turns out to be someone you're related to, let's just say he does not care about that, and he will do anything to get her, even if that means almost stabbing Serene in the back. Yeah, that's the type of guy he is. He just does not care. Like, he will create logic that only makes sense to him to make something moral. Like with Perry, for example, he would say, like, he would put in that, oh, if your father lets you stay here, or if he doesn't pay attention to you, he's not really a father, so I'm not really related to you, aren't I? But, of course, that does not prove anything. But he just used like I said, he just uses the logic that makes sense to him to get what he wants. And like I said, he'll manipulate Perry, he'll manipulate Serene, he'll manipulate just about anybody because he thinks he has the upper hand. He thinks he's God's gift to everybody. And, of course, this whole story is about taking all the injustice down. And, of course, Serene has to go against his master's own will, his own beliefs, just to get that done. He's practically probably one of the most unlikable characters, but for a villain, it's for a very good reason. And hopefully I can write more character development, like maybe a slight backstory or something, because you can't just, like, write a villain without a purpose or anything like that. Like, that doesn't really create much of a good villain, doesn't it? Trust me, I've watched a lot of Disney movies to tell. I mean, a lot. Even, like, and yes, Claudius Frollo is a play on words with Claude Frollo, which is actually the priest in the book, but he's actually the judge in the Disney movie. It kind of doesn't make any sense. But, like, context-wise, it doesn't make any sense, but I decided to use the church thing because it gives him more power in it. Or more purpose in his villainy approach. Unfortunately, that's all I got for you guys right now. But however, it's not too late because, like I said, I still have that blog, and I will post the link to the said story to the blog right down in the description box. So if you guys want to catch up and read it, and if I'm slow on updating, I highly apologize. This is a very long and delicate piece of art that I want to make sure that it's interesting for you guys. I will probably edit the former chapters down the line because, you know, story's not perfect until, like, the first draft is done, then you, like, pinpoint the little stuff that doesn't make sense and all that. But if you're really interested in the concept, I'll be more than glad if you checked it out. And also, I want to thank my dear friend, Luis, aka RunnerGuitar, for designing my characters for me. It is a huge honor. And if I want you to check out his channel for more stuff, which I'll also post in the description box below. Because not only does he do art, but he also does Let's Plays. He sometimes does art streams once in a while, and I highly recommend that you look at his work. It's really fun, it's awesome, I love his art style, that's why I allowed him to design these 5 characters for me. And I hope I can catch you guys again very soon, and I promise I'll have more materials on a so-to-so basis. I don't exactly have a schedule yet, but I'm trying to create more videos for you guys. But anyway, it's been fun. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you have any questions. I'll probably create a Q&A if you want, if we have enough. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and hope to see you guys again soon. Bye-bye!